the third. She's starting to build it here. This is going to be a matchup of who's play better, because you highlighted both in the open. Jada Williams, first in the conference, fourth in the conference for Liliana Montez. It's a battle of whose middles are going to be better and who can serve and pass, really.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be, like you just said, Kyle, to add on that ball control, take care of the volleyball.
And both coaches talked to me before this matchup on Tuesday afternoon, and they both said one of their keys, consistency, is going to be key, something that they've done inconsistently this year at times. These two teams have been up and down. I mean, Eastern Shore was undefeated to start conference play till they ran into the buzzsaw that was Coppin State.
Yeah, you're right. And one thing about UMES, that's one of those teams you just don't want to play, because you really don't know what you're going to always get. And so I think if they can continue to just be consistent, then they have an opportunity to extend their season.
Yeah, it was a 4-0 start for Maryland Eastern Shore. 3 out of those 4 coming in 5 sets. That one hits the floor. And Eastern Shore leads 3-1 early on, and you can already tell, we're going to talk about this all night long, Coach, the energy that both these teams bring, but especially Maryland Eastern Shore.
Oh, yes, they get excited. Doesn't matter if they were the ones who got the kill or not. They are excited for their teammates, and that's the type of team they have. They're looking wait for another team to make mistakes, and then, as you can see right now, they are excited over there with a 4-1 lead right now.
Couple of attack errors early for Morgan State. Melendez in play. Tried to help it over was Carrick, and she got stuffed by Omalewa at the net. 7th in blocks this year in the conference for Anjola Omalewa, the senior and Laurel, Maryland native. Errant pass by Ferreira. Still up and a free ball over.
Wow.
That was Aubrey Wilson in the net, and it's 6-1, and that's going to force a quick timeout. Not the start you wanted on one half of the net, but exactly the start you want on the other. We'll be back after this on ESPN+.
Top 10 public HBCU, the University of Maryland Eastern Shore has been creating opportunity for nearly 140 years. Opportunity to get an affordable, top-level education.
That's a good pass.
Wilson blocked. They're able to recycle, and Ferreira puts it over. Ikemefuna didn't get it to drop, and then Wilson was going to try and help it on two, and it drops, and it's 7-1 Maryland Eastern Shore.
Wow. And Aubrey Wilson, I think, is definitely one of the best middles in the conference, and starting off a little slow. So 7-1 UMES. And that's another tight set.
Still up, and it does not quite hit the speakers. It stays down, and Wardlaw is able to cover the dump. And then two-handed push by Ferreira. Missed the line. Maybe some indecision from the line judge there. And a service ace for Kerry Melendez, the junior from Puerto Rico, fourth in the conference in aces per set, and it is 9-1 Maryland Eastern Shore.
Well, definitely not the start that you wanted to have.
Not as the higher seed, that's for sure. And Wilson connects, and let's see if that can get the Bears rolling. 9-2, they're now climbing an uphill battle. You dug yourself a hole. You can't get it all back at once. It's one step at a time, and if you're Maryland Eastern Shore, it's just keep doing what you're doing.
Well, you know, I've watched Morgan be down by 10 points and come back and actually win the set.
Out of the middle is the freshman, Jada Hutchins.
Wow, what a great big swing. Right now, they are smoking on all cylinders.
You know, you've seen Eastern Shore come out with energy, but this is a different Eastern Shore team right now. This is a motivated Maryland Eastern Shore bunch. They'll go Wilson.
Every time, gotta go, run that middle.
And we've yet to see Jada Williams just yet, but maybe now Aubrey Wilson, the sophomore, gets going a little bit. Nemeth puts it in play. Montez cross-court kill. And you know, Montez might be the tallest middle we got in the conference, because she's at least listed at 6'4".
6'4", and I'm going to go with that. So we're going to say yes, indeed, the tallest middle here in the conference, and she's tough to stop.
When Montez is rolling, hard to beat this team. Ferreira didn't get it to go. 11-3 Eastern Shore. Got tipped. Hutchins another kill. The all-rookie member gets her second.
Well, right now everything is going UMES way. Even though that was a bad set, still found a way to score.
Wide of the line, service error.
Well, you got to take advantage of it right now. Jada Williams checking into the game. So if they can get some solid passing, that will help. And just find a way to continue to keep feeding Jada Williams.
Put in play for Morgan. Down 8 once again. Hutchins That was punched out, still alive, as Jada Williams was able to help it off the net. Montez on the slide, and guess who's there?
Jada Williams.
Jada Williams and Sayla Brashear, who had a great match against Coppin State last Friday. Brashear did.
I don't think was I here? Yes, I was here. And she's kind of worked her way into the lineup. She started off playing a little bit and then hadn't been playing, and then now getting the start today.
And she had 3 blocks, I believe, against Coppin State to help Morgan kind of keep things close at times. And then she was attacking well when Ferreira might have been missing. That's in. That's a great shot from Daniela Ferreira.
Finding that deep corner in position 1. Again, how we talked about, Morgan is able to chip away.
Howard. It will be an interesting 2 semis. We know that, and there is an ace for Daniela Ferreira, the senior from Lisbon, Portugal.
Voted second team, all MEAC.
Another good serve. Hutchins from the back, wide of the line. Now it's a Maryland Eastern Shore. Got to try and get the momentum back as Morgan is on a run. And this is exactly the game we needed, Coach, after our last quarterfinal was high energy. Get everybody re-engaged and awake once again. And these two teams haven't disappointed to start. 13-9 timeout, Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yes, where we saw UMES was just totally dominating, and where the Bears had some problems with passing, but they seem to have settled down. And again, like I said, I've seen them be behind and come back. And when I saw that against Howard University, I've seen them do it against multiple teams. And right now, we're starting to see it right now.
So we'll see what adjustments are made out of the timeout, as both coaches have now used 1. We've had quite a few challenges today. None yet. Love to see it. And again, coaches have been very successful today. They've seen things that nobody else has been able to see today in live action. The touches have been incredible that these coaches have seen in live time, especially in that first match. Talked about it already. It was some crazy chaos. More on that probably later in this one. Tomorrow even, as Delaware State and Coppin square off in semifinal number 1. But we've been saying this for about a month and a half on broadcasts, Coach, is that this tournament was going to be fun and competitive. And I would say 2 out of the 3 have been that today.
I'm going to agree with you, and I think this is going to be competitive. Although UMES had this big lead, I still believe this is going to be a competitive match.
Helped over, and still alive, but out of play.
Wow.
What a play by Morgan State in the back. On the ground was the second libero, number 10, Mele Tamopiao. Just trying to help it over, and they did just enough, and it was wide of the line.
They had brought her in as an outside hitter, but she has worked her way into being one of the liberos.
Hutchins to the setter, Eden, and she puts it in play. Now from the back row, Namath tools the block. And all of a sudden, we got a 4-point gain. This is a much more manageable deficit now, as we talk about just chipping away 1 point at a time. Stay in it. Stay aggressive.
And that's exactly what we have seen by the Bears.
Tooling the block is Carrie Melendez. She played with the Puerto Rican U21 national team in a couple of tournaments last summer. So going back to the last game, Coach, when we were talking about the international travel that the MEAC players have had, she's one of them, playing for her home national team.
And that's pretty cool, and we have a lot of players. I think maybe every team in the conference has at least 1 or 2 players from Puerto Rico. And that's a signature move by Jada Williams. She likes tipping to that deep zone 5, and there she comes up with the kill.
Good solid jump serve to get him out of system. Ikemefuna off the arms of Sayla Brashear, and Ikemefuna gets going.
Yeah, she's someone who can bring the heat. That time I think that might have been going. I don't know if it was a touch on the block or not, but she said, let's go.
Tight ball jousted for smartly by Carrick.
I love when setters can get up and joust and win the joust. And it usually goes their way because the ball is traveling over, and all you got to do is just go up and just put your hands up. Most setters tend to win the joust in those overpass type situations.
And we've already talked about that today, how you'd like to see people on those overpasses just go up instead of trying to save it. And that time, it's like they were listening to you earlier today, Coach.
Oh, it's a nice little block there.
Carrick, out wide, Namath, down the line. Somebody was in the net.
Okay, it was called.
Raya Howell, 35, was in the net.
And now look at the score.
3-point opening set now, 16-13. This has quite the feel like our first match of the day between Central and Delaware State. Ferreira, no. Ikemefuna is blocked. Ferreira and Wilson combine, and you can see and feel the energy from not only Morgan State but the fans behind that bench.
Yes, and again, I'm not exactly sure. Is that our? I'm trying to think if this is the Morgan State wrestling team, but I'm not sure.
Well, that's over there behind the Eastern Shore bench and the All Blacks. You can't really see, can't see the logo on the jersey or on the jackets that they got on. And then they're able to tool the block that time, and it's a 1-point game. That's definitely Morgan State because they just erupted after that.
Oh, okay, okay, see?
You were right. So they're over there trying to cause some chaos.
And
we love
that's
students.
Exactly what they're supposed to do.
We love
in a respectful
students.
manner.
That's the key. Stay respectful, but have fun. I love to see students supporting students. Down the line, it missed. Service error and a side out for Maryland Eastern Shore. Now the question is, will they get up and follow in between sets?
Of course. Nice job by the setter to save that.
That stayed.
And Aubrey Wilson reaching really, really high.
That's a great save. I'm not so sure, but works for Morgan State. High intensity environment here inside the PEC. Brashear. Back row try, missed.
So right now, where we saw where Morgan State was committing a lot of errors, this is exactly what we're seeing out of University of Maryland Eastern Shore.
Time out, Vanessa Faircloth. Second of the game, or of the set rather, as you see Ziamora Ortiz and her assistant, I believe, is that Victor? Victor over there giving some thoughts. I don't want to mess up the last name. More ice. That's what it is. More ice. That's why we have pronunciation guides.
There you go.
Look at how it just becomes really calm and quiet all of a sudden. When we go to the huddles for both sides, it's calm, it's quiet, and then we're going to step back out, and all of a sudden it's going to be pure chaos.
Well, I think we both expected that this was going to be a pretty competitive match. And
absolutely.
right now we're seeing that, again, University of Maryland Eastern Shore coming out really, really strong. And just doing everything right. And then now Morgan State is doing everything right. So they're showing some parents, a couple of parents that was stressing out when the score was like 1-7. I saw them getting when the
Volleyball supports volleyball, right?
And it looks like it's the whole team, possibly.
Exciting to see men's volleyball come into the HBCU level. I mean, there aren't a ton of Division I men's programs, and they share with Division II.
Yes.
It becomes one. I was blessed enough to go to a university that had men's volleyball. They no longer have men's volleyball.
Where was that at?
Grand Canyon.
Oh, yeah.
I digress on that. Very good, had some very exciting games calling their team and, of course, Grand Canyon's women's team. But it's just great to see the men's game expanding and getting the recognition that the women's game is starting to get as well, because it's starting to blow up a little bit, just the sport of volleyball.
Yeah, and I don't know what conference they're going to actually be playing in.
NEC, I think it is. I'm going to double check.
So both middles trading points.
The NEC.
NEC. That should be fun.
And they will open their program at home January 14th against Virginia Wesleyan.
I'll have to take a look at their schedule and see how close will they be toward Baltimore.
But it's just great when programs can get along and just be a cohesive athletic department, because that's how it should be. Support student athletes. You want people to come to your games, come to my games. You know, we'll trade off just like that. You support me, I support you, kind of a thing.
Well, I know the baseball team used to always be there at Coppin State volleyball games.
I think most of them were working today. I think most of them end up being volunteers working today for the most part, at least early this morning.
Well, maybe they'll get time off come tomorrow so they can sit in the stands and actually enjoy the game, because they tend to get pretty fired up.
Yeah, they do. 20-19. Maryland Eastern Shore has yet to relinquish this lead, and that's been key, is they let Morgan State get it back tied after being up 8, but they haven't given the Bears a lead, and now it's a 2-point Eastern Shore advantage, 21-19.
Right now, the Bears need a side out. You got Jada Wims in the game. So if they can get a good pass, look for the ball to be put into Jada Wims' hands.
Montez back to serve, the 6'4" middle. On the run, Williams went with the tip. I'd like to see her maybe swing on that one.
Oh, nice play by Daniela Ferreira. Recognizing that the defense was sucked into the court, she puts the ball deep in zone 5. Great heads-up play.
Coach Faircloth letting her team know that scouting report, you got to be aware. You know what shot she likes. This is the third time we've played. They split regular season matches. Melendez, good swing, and then the help by Carrick. Out of play. 21 across the board. Balanced offenses for both sides, and both sides hitting over 200. Morgan State, though, 321 on the match. Out of system, Hutchins on the run. There's Williams on the swing. It got blocked and then helped over by Morgan State's defense. Down the line, she found the line. Melendez.
Well, that was a great swing by Jada Wims, but not enough to score. But wow, what a nice swing down the line.
And again,
they needed that.
And again, Morgan State can't get over the hump. They can get it tied. They crawled all the way back from down 8, but unable to take that lead. A lot of bend but don't break right now for Maryland Eastern Shore. And Ikemefuna sends it wide.
Oh, and that's a big hitter that they went and like you just said, just wide. Missed opportunity to extend the lead, but now it's tied.
Jada Williams put it in play. Omalewa out of the middle.
Nice shot. Didn't go up to try to swing for a lot of power. Definitely did a good job recognizing that Aubrey Wilson, again, one of the best blockers, I think, in the conference, and swung away from her, and good ball placement.
23-22. Maryland Eastern Shore in front. Nemeth tips wide of the line. Set point 1 of 2.
You know, we watch some teams, you know, when it gets close, and then they go to a tip game. And if you're going to tip, you got to keep it in, because that's one thing that's a lot easier to control. And just went a little bit too wide, but you got to swing. You just got to swing. You can't, you know, allow a team to get, you know, a set point.
At this point in the year, right?
And we watched that earlier, you know.
All day we've said it. You know, if you're going to go down, swing, go down swinging. It hurt NC Central. They stopped taking aggressive swings. But that's all Delaware State was doing, especially Aaliyah Mitchell. And Aaliyah Mitchell was that spark today. We talked about that in the opening game. But she's the reason they won. And then eventually Jaron Tomlin, your star, got right and got going. But in order to get to that point, you needed Aaliyah Mitchell. You needed Amanda Santos-Juliao. But Cameron Harper stopped getting set up to take aggressive swings. Mackenzie Searcy stopped getting set up to take aggressive swings. We saw Norfolk State not being able to get swings at all of any kind, really, because of the pressure Howard put on, and the same with Coppin and South Carolina State.
Yeah, you're right. And Kyle, you did a great job breaking down every single team. So only thing I'm going to say, ditto.
If you're just now tuning in for the first time today, you've missed some good volleyball. That's all we're going to say. You gotta stay tuned for all the games. You got to be locked in at work. I know you might be working. Put the earphone in.
There you go.
Minimize it maybe. Don't let the boss see it. It's okay. It's like March Madness. It's the prep for March Madness.
Oh, I love March Madness. That's when I really get into basketball.
Set point 1 of 2, and it's an ace for Maryland Eastern Shore and Carrie Melendez.
Wow. Everyone was just froze just now. And University of Maryland Eastern Shore found a way to close out that very first set after being up and Morgan chipping away, but found a way. And now we're with Kyle.
Joined by the head coach, now Vanessa Faircloth. Coach, high energy set, back and forth. You jumped out to an 8-point lead. Morgan State got it all the way back, but it was a lot of bend but don't break. What did you like out of your side in that opening set?
We showed that we don't have to, that we can keep going. We didn't give up. We fought through some tough times. We were leading really good with the serve and pass game. We started to get a little shaky. We just had to get back in our game.
And Coach, going into this second set, you know Morgan State's going to come out with energy. Your team's always energetic. We talked about it earlier this week. Going into the second set, you're not looking to make adjustments, but what are you looking to keep getting right in that second set?
We've just got to keep winning the serve and pass game. If we pass well and stay in system, we can utilize our middles more, have some separation, hopefully get our pins some better one-on-one blocks.
Absolutely, Coach. Thanks for your time. We'll let you get back to your team.
Thank you.
Vanessa Faircloth here on the broadcast. Her team wins set number 1. We're back with set is the most energetic and loud that we have seen today, and it's only going to get better as this tournament progresses, but this is the environment we expected and wanted.
Well, we do have it confirmed, Kyle, that is University of Maryland Eastern Shore's men's volleyball team, and they have decided not to switch sides, so you already know.
Well, right now you're not going to.
They are all into it, and I guess Morgan State are going to have to hear it.
Hostile environment for Morgan State on that half of the net right now. They'll have the first serve, and it's Daniela Ferreira leading all attackers with 5 kills, and Aubrey Wilson with 4 as well. But it's a trio of Hutchins, Melendez, Montez with 3 apiece, and the interesting part is Ekemafuna's only got 2.
Wow. And if she only has 2, and they were able to take that first set, that means you got some other players that have done a nice job of stepping up.
Maryland Eastern Shore comes into this tournament with losses in 4 of their last 5. Their only win, Morgan State.
Nice job, Aubrey Wilson protecting the net.
And Morgan State comes in losing their last 2 to Eastern Shore, and Coppin with their last win coming against Delaware State in a 5-set match. So both these sides coming in are going to snap a losing streak with whoever wins here tonight. That's down in the back row. Was that Wardlaw?
Yeah,
on
that was
the
a
three?
libero. Yeah. Freshman. Started at the beginning of the season. Started a little slow. Little freshman nerves early. But definitely has been playing pretty solid for the Bears.
Blocked and out of play. Brashear. So now Morgan State's jumped out in front. 3-1.
Wow. Is it going to be that kind of match here?
It might be. Hutchins out of the middle.
What a great swing by Hutchins.
She went cross court and found a winner. 3-2, now the libero, Valeria Matias. That somehow found the floor. What a swing. Well, who was that on the outside?
That was Bashir. Nice
Again.
Ball control.
Brashear again. 4-2 Bears. So you knew that Morgan State might jump out early. And here's the thing, Eastern Shore never panics and never comes down. They're always at 100. Win or lose, close set, blowout set, it's the same. And it's something that you can't teach, but you can go find the right players, and that's what Coach told me pre-match this week was, it's not, they talk about it, but it's not something the coaches instilled. It's who they went out and recruited. And it's paying dividends with a Hutchins and Montez block, and the freshman, Jada Hutchins, listed as a setter, but we had this conversation with Coach Kupferberg of Howard. There are plenty of teams this year, and this is the team I couldn't figure out who was the other one. It's Jada Hutchins was the other one who's listed as a setter and a freshman, but they have her outside swinging because she can.
And outside, too. Ooh.
And an ace.
And if we can go back to her, a freshman, a true freshman on the roster, but a very interesting major. Major is physical health science and photography.
Minor in photography, yes. It's a double. It's a double. It's an interesting combination is what it is.
Yes. Wow. Not bad. Oh, nice job by the freshman.
But yeah, the freshman from Henderson, Nevada, found her way out to the Eastern Shore of Maryland.
Hey, you go get them from everywhere, right?
There are some teams that are very localized and that make sense, and then there are others who are spread out all over the continental U.S. and internationally, and neither one is wrong. 5-5.
So Hutchins, I mean, she's taken a total of 14 swings, or 15 swings, I should say, with 5 kills, hitting at a .200 right now.
Herrera rolls. Eden sets it up in the middle. Williams had the block. Jousted and won by Morgan.
Yeah, that time that setter just kind of misplayed that. Went up just a little bit too early, but Bashir gets the best of it. And we see where Coach Ortiz has made a few little changes here with her lineup.
I haven't seen the freshman setter yet for Morgan State.
Yeah, and who was on that all-rookie team.
Montez shows that she can tip 2 out of the middle when she needs to.
Yeah, that ball was actually set a little low, and she did something very smart. You know, if I can't get on top of it for the big swing, nice little control tip.
Tip it up and over. And Morgan is actually out hitting Maryland Eastern Shore on the match total, but we're tied at 6, and Eastern Shore is up 1-0. Wide of the line. And how much does Montez really have to jump at the net?
I know, how about that?
She's almost as tall. How tall is the women's net?
Oh, gosh.
Is it above 8? 7.5, 8 feet?
7-something. But we got to look it up. I should know that, right?
No, that's what I was thinking you would off the top of your head.
Yeah, well, every time we are unsure about something, we have done a good job looking it up. So I guess you're going to go look it up.
I'm on it.
Scores tied 7-7.
Great pass from Hutchins. Omalewa is blocked. Carrick and Williams combine. 7'4" ¼ inch, or 1/8 of an inch. That's how tall.
Say it one more time.
7 feet 4 1/8 inches is the height of the NCAA women's volleyball net. So yeah, she's just about as tall as that net. And how about it? It's an ace for Morgan State and Jada Williams.
So where we saw early a little bit in this set, where the Bears is having little problems with passing, it has now reversed.
Morgan was in the net, but it was going to be a kill anyway for Melendez. 9-8.
Melendez, we already talked about her from being from Puerto Rico.
Malaysia Shaw checks in for the first time here in this one, the freshman from Austin, Texas. Seriously, look how spread out. They are a lot out west. Central U.S. to out west, Maryland Eastern Shore's makeup has been so far. But when you like one region, right, you might as well go get it. And Melendez goes and gets that one.
Yeah, Melendez, definitely one of those go-to hitters right now. That's 2 back-to-back kills. So we're back to being tied right now, 9-9.
Caitlin Eden from Fort Worth, Texas, 5th in aces per set coming in. Howell was blocked, pushed now to Melendez on the slice. Firing one to the back corner, didn't get down for Namath. Middle ball for Omalewa.
Well, that time that was much better swing. Swing away from the blocker, Aubrey Wilson. Was able to come up with the kill. It's getting loud in here, Kyle.
Service ace. Caitlin Eden, one of the top 5 servers in the MEAC, forces Aziamora Ortiz timeout. 11-9 Eastern Shore by 2. We'll back with the rest of set number 2 when we return here on ESPN+. Caitlin Eden. Ready for play now. We got the signal. Another good pass from Hutchins to keep him in system. Punched back over by Ferreira. And Omalewa got dug out by Wardlaw. One more time, Omalewa. No doubt that time.
Well, that was a great dig by the Morgan State libero freshman. But wow, what a great swing to finish that. MEAC getting the momentum coming back their way, swinging back their way. Ooh, that was going to go out.
Sure looked like that. Wilson puts it over. Omalewa tipped, punched back by Wilson. Tight ball, somehow staying out of the net, and then it's outside the antenna from Carrick. But I don't know, I think maybe a conversation, because that was awfully close to a violation, but she did a good job to keep herself out, just to substitute. And here comes the freshman, Isabel Brown.
And talk about body control from Melendez, because that ball was extremely tight. And I like, changing up the setter. Not that the Morgan setter was doing poorly, but sometimes you just want to switch some things up, and Isabella Brown, solid player.
I mean, Carrick, 12 assists, 6 digs so far. But now let's see what the freshman has. She's going to combine for a block with Wilson. Recycling here, and that's off hands. And Ferreira sends it into the net. Also in for Morgan State is Janae Mason, number 7, the senior, transfer from Vance Granville Community College, Durham, North Carolina native. So she's in for the first time on that right side. And now it's a 14-9. All of a sudden it's a 5-point game in favor of the Hawks. Wilson answers.
Well, you picked the right player to get that side out. Anytime you can run your middles for Morgan State, Aubrey Wilson and Jada Williams have definitely been that 1-2 punch combination. And that time, Aubrey Wilson punching it over for a kill.
Ferreira, cross court. Good hustle, but it got down. Everybody pops right back up. Got the courtside seats out, which normally aren't out for volleyball here in the PDC Arena, but for the MEAC tournament, they are, so it's less space to run down, and it's an added obstacle to try and avoid.
Oh, they don't try to avoid, they just try to run through it.
Omalewa.
Having her way, Kyle. So she has been avoiding the block. She's done a nice job. So her last few kills, just placing it, not necessarily swinging for a lot of power and avoiding the block that she knows that Aubrey Wilson, like she respects the fact that Aubrey Wilson is a solid blocker.
Mason pushes. Setting one up for Howell, didn't get down. Hutchins again, another good swing. Brown keeps it alive, and a free ball sent over in system. Omalewa with the left hand.
Something a little different this time.
(16-11). Timeout Morgan State for the second time here in the set. And it's been all Anjola Omalewa here in the second.
Well, you had talked about the fact that Morgan was out hitting the Shore, but now they have surpassed that. And you got to give some credit where credit is due right now for MEAC is doing a good job. They're all hitting it in the positive, but you got two players hitting at .300 plus, and then you have Montez at a .429. So that's been the difference right here, is that their offense right now is clicking.
And I don't think Morgan State's gotten Jada Williams involved enough, just 2 for 4, while the other middle, Aubrey Wilson, is 6 for 9. So she's been involved, but Jada Williams offensively hasn't been involved. I think you got to find a way to get her going.
Well, it's got to start with the pass. And when Jada Williams has been in the game, the passing just really has not been there where you can be able to give the ball to Jada.
So back to service, Carrie Melendez. Almost served up an ace out of the timeout, and instead it's a free ball. I'll give you 3 guesses. Omalewa for a 3rd consecutive time, maybe a 4th.
Now this setter's doing a nice job. You know, if that's the player is giving you kills, she has continued to go back to her, and she has been delivering every single time. And that's going to go wide. I would have went back to Aubrey Wilson, because that was definitely a nice pass. Aubrey Wilson been the one most consistent hitter for the Bears.
Well, we said it's a battle of the middles, and Eastern Shore is winning that battle right now. Ace. Everything going right for the Shore, 19-11.
Well, right now, the Bears just need to settle down. And I'm sure they're not in panic mode because they've been here before. They know how to chip away. We just saw them do that in the first set.
Into the net, service error, Melendez. Just the 3rd for the Hawks.
We're going to get some subs.
Hutchins, the freshman, is having a game, joining Melendez and Omalewa with 6 kills apiece.
Well, she's hitting at a low percentage, but she's also taking the most swings for her team, with a total of 17 total attempts.
That'll get Ferreira going. She's got 7 kills to lead the match. Big side out for the Bears.
Yeah, Ferreira, 1-on-1, money all the time, every single time. If she can get 1-on-1, look for her to put some power behind it. And what we just saw from her, finding a way to score.
Wardlaw. Morgan was in the net. Brashear is the culprit. Stuffed Montez and Hutchins.
Yeah, they knew exactly where the ball was going to go, and it's almost like they were commit blocking to get out there on Daniela.
Back to back, Montez and Eden this time.
Well, you got Jada Wims in the game. She was going for the slide. And we saw earlier in the first set where when they set her on the slide, she was scoring. Yeah, in the net.
Eden was the culprit. 23-14. Montez rejected by Williams.
One of the best blockers in the conference, Jada Wims, doing a nice job lining up with her. What a big block.
Ferreira into the net. Set point 1 of 9. We've been saying that a lot in the last 2 matches. Didn't necessarily expect to say it here. But Eastern Shore, just like NC Central, is on the brink of a 2-0 lead in a potential upset here in the first round. Recycling, Morgan State. Brashear tools it. Set point number 2.
Well, I like that she did find Jada Wims. Didn't get the kill. Brashear doing a nice job of off the block.
Taumoi Piao back to serve. The native of Hawaii, by way of transfer from the University of Nevada, serves up an ace.
And did we talk about Hawaii earlier? You and I having a conversation. You have a sister
sure did.
Who lives out in Hawaii. Maybe she's listening to us right now. She's not. I know it's like an 8-hour or 6-hour time, 5-hour time difference. You said she's not.
I know she's not. But another ace back to back. Timeout, Maryland Eastern Shore. And the 6-foot sophomore giving Morgan State a little bit of life here.
A nice job serving. Nice low flat serve, and it's actually just dropping. And it's kind of keeping the Eastern Shore passers unbalanced. So 2 back-to-back service aces. And, and she was one of the liberos in the first set. And by her changing up, putting on the white jersey, it allows her to stay in the game, to play back row. And right now, she's one of the best servers for the Bears. So going back to Hawaii, Kyle. You got your ticket to head that way.
Oh, first time going out there. It's going to be fun. The island of Oahu.
Yes, and I think I was telling you that a few years ago, the volleyball NCAA Final Four was in Hawaii. I'm wondering when they're going to do that again. I'm going to be there again.
Well, why wouldn't you? Who doesn't want to go to Hawaii in December, right?
Oh, how about that? And it was so nice.
Well, Toma Piao has played prior to this year 3 collegiate matches at Nevada. Spent 2 years there, and it's a trio of aces.
And again, you can just see her serve. If you see how far back she is, where she starts at, and her balls are coming over, and then they're just going to drop.
She's got 5 siblings, and I'm not going to attempt their names because I don't want to get them wrong. If I had the pronunciation guide, maybe, but she's got 5 siblings, so you know she's going to be a scrappy player, and she's showing it here. Has been key. Was wearing the backup libero jersey, actually, in that first set, but then has switched over and is now just that defensive serving specialist. And that's out, and her run continues. Here comes set point number 5.
Wow. Again, Bears do what they do, chip away, one at a time. despite whatever the score is.
And no room for error if you're Morgan State right now. Montez is blocked. Williams and Namath were sitting on it.
Right there. And if you're going to run out of serve receive, you don't want to just run a straight up quick. You got to make the middle blocker move. And if you're not going to make Jada Williams move, you're going to get blocked every single time.
And that is going to get down. So they close the gap to make it a 25-21 game. But Maryland Eastern Shore wins it and takes a 2-set lead. The first 2 sets. Morgan State's going to look to bounce back. Wells Fargo is the bank of doing, where they aim to serve a wide range of customers and clients across the country every day by offering great financial products and services. You can customize your banking experience with Wells Fargo with a MEAC debit card or one of the many HBCU cards in the Wells Fargo Design Studio at wellsfargo.com/HBCU. I'm kind of in on the HBCU MEAC card, Coach, but here's your stats through 2 sets.
Well, again, I mentioned that toward the end of that last set that Morgan State that was hitting over 200 something right now and has dropped down to .197, and the Shore hitting at .222. And that's the big difference right here in this game. You can see the aces, they're tied. Kills, right now, Eastern Shore only leading by 3. And the blocks, you know, it's obvious that they would be leading the way. That would be the Bears, because they are definitely one of the best blocking teams in the conference. So Coach is going to stay, I think, with the lineup that ended that last set.
Morgan State and Maryland Eastern Shore have met 7 times in the MEAC tournament. Maryland Eastern Shore, well, actually Morgan State, however, I should say, is 4-3 in those 7 meetings. The last time they met, the 2004 semifinal, where Maryland Eastern Shore was victorious in 5 sets.
And let me just tell you this, if there was replay challenges, I kid you not. A lot of matches played back then. Also, I'll finish that statement in just a second. A lot of matches played back then. We didn't have official line judges either. And I'm going to tell you, every time when Morgan State went down to University of Maryland Eastern Shore, the line judges were friends with the head coach. And they were calling balls down. I'm like, that's not even your call.
Well, it happens.
It does.
Now, the last time Morgan State beat Maryland Eastern Shore was a sweep, semifinal, 2002.
2002. Okay, I think I was there.
Yeah, you were just, 9-1 in the conference that year, Coach.
Well,
You ended up losing to Florida A&M.
Yeah, so I saw enough of them, those Rattlers, who is now in the SWAC.
2-1 Maryland Eastern Shore early here, set number 3. Morgan is in a win or go home situation. Much like Delaware State before this morning. And Ikemefuna, who we have not called very often, gets the kill.
You're right about that, and we know that she is capable of being that big hitter, and she hasn't been getting the ball quite often, and when she hasn't been able to score, and the Shore still is 2 sets up.
Ace.
Little miscommunication right there by the Bears.
6th ace of the match for Maryland Eastern Shore. And most have come from Melendez. In fact, 4 of them make it 5 of the now 7 aces for Carrie Melendez.
Well, that's just some great serving. Just now, she saw where they kind of made some changes with their serve-receive pattern here. And great serve. And that's where you get that experience where you're playing internationally. Ooh, goes really wide on that one, though. She didn't learn that playing internationally.
Brown will maintain that setter spot and is back now to serve. Morgan State took Coppin to 5 as the 7 seed last year in the quarterfinal round before falling to the Eagles. Will have to do the same here if they want a chance to win, but down 6-2.
Yeah, and I was there. I was actually on the call for that one, and University of Maryland Eastern Shore had it, and they finished the set deciding to just do some off-speed shots and allow the Eagles to get in there and take that. But getting back to what just occurred here on the court, that's a big swing by Nemeth. Her 4th kill of the game. One of the seniors on the team.
And Maryland Eastern Shore is looking heads up for another crack at the Bison, because that's who knocked them out a year ago in the semifinal. They're looking for a little revenge, and they're trying to make quick work here and get right back and get ready to refocus on Howard. Now, Maryland Eastern Shore and Morgan both knew who they would end up playing. Not that you can do any pre-scouting because you got to play, but you at least knew going into this one, after this match, all right, we know what our report's going to be. Howard has the scouting report on both teams, but they don't know who it's going to be, so it's kind of depending on how you want to coach and get prepared the night before. It's, all right, watch film on both or watch the match online and kind of do some pre-scouting, and then we'll get together in the morning. Time out.
How about they just listen to us and we can let them know how or what they need to do.
Time out. Morgan State 8-3 the score. Eastern Shore in front by 5. We're back with the rest of set number 3 on the other side of the break on ESPN+.
At Wells Fargo, we believe that doing can make
5 aces today, Coach.
Well, I think it's the 5 aces that stand out the most. We know she's going to get kills, but 5 aces so far tells you right now that Morgan has been struggling with passing. And that's the big difference in this game, because Aubrey and Jada for the Bears are your big hitters. But if you can't pass well, you're not able to set them. That's a smart swing by the freshman, Jay Hutchins. Thank you.
Service error and a side out for the Bears. Now you look at these two teams, but in the preseason, Maryland Eastern Shore finished one spot below. They were picked to finish 5, finished 6. Morgan picked to finish 6, finished 3.
3, yeah.
They kind of came in out of nowhere, much like UMES did at the beginning. They say touch on the way through. Or it was in at least.
It must have dropped. I thought it was selling long as well.
The bottom fell out there, I guess, and it drops in, an ace for Wardlaw.
Wardlaw, her grandfather, used to be one of the assistant men's basketball coaches at Morgan.
Almost got down. Great help from Hutchins. Williams missed the line.
That's just timing right there. You got to go back to Jada Williams, though. If this is a good pass, got to give her another opportunity to get some swings right here.
Stuffed. Jada Williams, they needed that.
Jada Williams is all over that. Nice job lining up with Monteith, and no room for her to swing anywhere. Jada Williams, nice block.
And Jada Williams coming in already 5th in career total blocks at Morgan State, coming into today with 284 career blocks. Now, Coach, I want you to tell me about Janina Lee and her 512 career blocks.
Janina Lee, she is actually in the MEAC Hall of Fame.
And why she didn't play in 1997.
Torn ACL. And guess how, I'm going to tell you how she did it here. Nice hustle by Brashear, able to keep this ball in play. Janina Lee was playing softball for me and ran to first base.
Softball where?
At Morgan. I coached softball for 8 years.
The more you know.
And we were just getting started really with the program, so I had multiple volleyball players that was playing softball. Janina being one of my pitchers. And we'll let this...
Hutchins into the net. Go ahead and finish that story.
Took that swing, heading to first base, to her ACL, got to first base, and she asked, was I safe?
Was she?
She was safe,
yeah.
But she had torn her ACL. So we lost her that year and came back strong. She was actually a player that was supposed to go to University of Maryland, College Park, just showed up on my campus and asked, was there any room on the roster? And I said, most definitely. And she was one of my best middle hitters.
Ironically enough, you did win the title in '97 without her, ironically enough, as we get a challenge here on a potential touch. But, Coach, down 12-8 now. Morgan State starting to crawl their way back in it. But down 2-0, you're the higher seed. You're supposed to win on paper. How do you regroup? What are you looking to get the team to do here?
Well, I think for University of Maryland Eastern Shore, I think Coach just needs to make sure that they all stay focused, be intentional with every single touch. Don't get lax, because they should know right now that Morgan is capable of coming back, because they've done that in both sets that they've played. And if you're Morgan, just continue to just play how you have been playing when you have worked your way back in. And I think there was possibly a touch. Yes.
So Eastern Shore maintains the challenge. and wins it 13-7.
Well, Morgan's still in this set right here. Not the time to lose hope. But I think you got to look for Jada Wims to be able to score for you right here and right now.
Name it is blocked. Ekemefuna Omalewa with the block.
And again, it wasn't a perfect pass, but it was good enough where you can find Jada Wims. Or you got to go to Daniela Ferreira from out of the back row if you're not in a position to set Wims.
And Mason comes back in for Morgan. Eden the serve for Eastern Shore. They go Williams here. She tips, and it's dug out by Matias. Ekemefuna. Ferreira with a huge swing. Goodness gracious, coach. That was a firecracker.
That was a firecracker, and she did something that she normally does not do, and that is to go down the line. That is a great swing. And by her finding that type of success, she needs to do that again because she's more of a cross-court hitter, but to swing down the line with that type of velocity, scary.
And there's Mason and Wilson combining for a block, 14-9. The last time Morgan State made it out of the quarterfinal round was 2019 en route to a championship game appearance, part of the 5 straight from Howard that they won. But that was the last time Morgan's been out of the quarterfinal. They did not qualify the COVID year of 2020, and then have been knocked out on the last 4 quarterfinal matches, all in straight sets outside of last year's 5-setter.
Yeah, Morgan State decided that they were going to play in that COVID year. You know, that particular year had multiple upperclassmen, and they wanted to play it out. So we did.
Replaying the point here.
Yeah, that's a great call.
Here's what happened. Oh, that got down, yeah. Or no, that didn't get down. The pancake got down, and immediately, before there was a challenge, the R2 came over.
And I like that, taking that accountability so the coaches don't have to spend any time for, to go to a replay. Because I don't even think that's a...
It is.
It is a call, yes.
But it would have resulted in a replay of the point anyway,
exactly.
So just eliminate that and move on.
Play
Good
on.
officiating. 14-9 stays the score, and Williams is the server.
Wow.
Morgan was out of rotation? Can we see that again?
I think what happened on that call is that was Jada actually supposed to be back to serve? Huh.
I'm not sure what the explanation was, but it goes down as an error in Maryland Eastern Shore point. Wilson answers.
When you're in system, that's what you can do. Feed the ball to the middles. And Aubrey Wilson coming up big with a nice swing, avoiding the block.
Brown right into the net. Valeria Matias, back to serve. High ball for Ferreira, she puts it away.
That time they decided to keep Ferreira out of serve receive, swinging on the out. So her last 2 swings that she's had has been like on fire.
Esparza back to serve.
I think this is her first time into the game.
Brashear puts it away. 16-12.
Brashier's showing a little power right now.
Ferreira with the roll. Out of the middle, wide of the line, Montez.
So she tried to avoid Aubrey Wilson, recognizing it. Aubrey Wilson has been all over her, or the middle blockers for Morgan has been all over her. And that time, again, trying to avoid, and that ball went wide. So it's going to be a challenge?
Of somebody in the net.
Oh, okay.
For all you lip readers out there that were zoomed in on Coach Faircloth before that challenge, she did ask to challenge if a player was in the net. Don't have to specify who, just want you to go look at the rally. and a free timeout.
And
also.
I was going to say, and this is a great time to do that, because Morgan's a little bit on a roll, and where Morgan was struggling a little bit offensively, and right now they're hitting at a point 203. So this was really quick from what I see.
Well, that was quick. Aubrey Wilson was in the net. Here comes the call. Was he going to make it 17-12? Love the efficiency of the challenge calls today. Big shout out to Randy.
Bit on point.
Let's keep it going tomorrow now.
Well, it's definitely been good all day today, where the coaches have challenged and have been winning their challenge. I'm going to say, what, 95% of the calls?
Gotta be. Maryland Eastern Shore 8 points away from their 4th consecutive semifinal appearance. This is a program that has won 2 titles, 2011, 2012. They've been to the NIVC in 2017.
Yeah, Don Meadow was the head coach. He's now the head coach over at Towson University. Known Don Meadow for a very, very long time, even before he came into the MEAC.
(18-12). Morgan State's got to go on a run right now.
And that's the person that can help you do it. That time, Daniela Ferrero finding hands, swinging toward the line. And again, this is something that I normally don't see out of her, going line. So she's had some success swinging on that right side. And that's the freshman.
Back to serve Hutchins. Wardlaw to Brown. Now Ferreira. Great dig by Howell. And Ferreira past Hutchins.
With that one-on-one.
Well, they called out. Here comes a challenge, I think.
Out.
That was the call. Both coaches with 2 challenges.
That was...
And here's the challenge. This should be quick because our camera crews are great. They got the angles, and our official on the replay, he's been quick with it.
Yes, well, that was a great swing. She had one-on-one, and, you know, which is unfortunate because that was clearly in from what I saw. And so, like you said, I think this is going to be really quick. But Daniela Farrell not wanting her season to end, coming up with some really, really big swings.
It's in. Coach Ortiz is keeping the challenge. Here's your replay. Yeah, that's inside the free throw line. That's 2 today that have Was that the last game? Was that Morgan or was that the Coppin game? Or was it Norfolk State, Howard, or Coppin, South Carolina State?
I think that was the last.
It was Howard and Norfolk State,
so.
Where the questionable touch that was overturned quickly and then the in and out call. But hey, our camera crew's got the angles. Randy's got the call. And seems like he's been right all day long. So 19-14 officially goes the score. Hutchins, the answer.
Well, the freshman came to play today. And she's actually leading the way for her team with a total of 12 kills, hitting at a .308. You know, sometimes when you start a freshman, you're not really sure what you're going to get sometime, but she is playing big.
Well, today you get a new career high with 12 kills. Tight ball, jousted one by Omalewa. And Ferreira, high hands to keep it alive here, 20-15.
Nice swing by Ferreira. Again, she is playing like she wants to continue to keep playing come tomorrow. So big swings out of the back row. And so one of their best servers that got them back into that last set is serving for the Bears.
3 aces for Melee Tomapiwa. And it's a Jada Williams block.
Well, it was a great pass. Maybe not the best decision where you're going to go when you got Jada Williams across the net. Best blocker in the conference.
2 hands, 1, Eden. Timeout, Morgan State. Then we'll have the sub for Olivia Proctor with Nkemjika Ikemafuna coming back in. Last Morgan State timeout potentially of the season. Down 21-16, Coach. Now back against the wall. You're out of timeouts. Morgan State down 2-0 against the lower seed. You're down 5 here. What are you saying to the team?
Got to keep playing. You know, again, we have seen where Morgan State will chip away and wait for you to make some errors on your side. But you got to find who are the big hitters right now for the Bears, and Jada Williams being one of those. Daniela Ferreira, who is in the back row, has been taking some nice aggressive swings. So you got to look for them, and you just got to be scrappy and just play like you want to continue to play come tomorrow.
Winner gets Howard in the second semifinal tomorrow night. Well, now the Morgan fans want to try and get some energy back into their side.
Well, that's what you need. And I'm sure in the huddle, you know, this is not what the coach is saying to the players, but the coach is thinking you do not want to allow Morgan State to win this set. You don't want to go 4 sets, not with Morgan. And although you're Morgan with the higher seed, we talked about that 3, 4, 5 could have been like any one of those teams.
Well, and Eastern Shore went from 4 to 6 really quick as they dropped down and Delaware State made a jump. So an interesting draw it has been. Free ball, Ferreira. Long rally. Hutchins trying to end it, and it's run down and sent over Big collision and then popped down by Eden. Hutchins might have got the worst of it, but she's up and okay.
But talk about the pursuit by the Bears. Daniela Farrell running that ball all the way down, and that was a nice, smart decision by the setter for...
Knowing that two players were down and maybe not getting back up, you got to try and finish it.
And recognizing also that the Morgan State players went out for a deep, long pursuit.
Yeah, everybody was in scramble mode except
The
for
setter.
Caitlin and Eden. And she's back to serve the lefty. And Williams doesn't want her season to be done.
Jada Williams, that was a great slide. Put some power behind that ball.
4 kills, 5 blocks for Jada today. And now she's back to serve, already with an ace to her credit. Omalewa blocked. 23-17. Morgan not going to go away quietly. And that's an ace serve. Match point, Maryland Eastern Shore. They'll have 7 to work with. And it's Carrie Melendez with 6 aces back to the line. 7! And the Hawks upset Morgan State and move on to the semifinal.
And they did it in 3 sets. And they did it with Hutchins leading the way, playing very, very big as a freshman, coming up with double-digit kills and some hitters for the Shore. Not a big factor, but Hutchins was, and she played very, very well today. And you know, got to give some credit to the Shore that they got it done, and definitely want to have an opportunity to play tomorrow. So it's going to be some fun. Matches come tomorrow, Kyle.
Absolutely. We should get Jada Hutchins, our player of the game, here on the broadcast. Jada Hutchins here on the broadcast, the freshman, a new career high in kills in your MEAC tournament debut. Jada, what was going right for you individually and the team overall?
I think we were just really fired up for this game. We knew that we had to bring the fire. In the beginning of the season in Morgan, they really beat us bad, so we knew that it was going to be a fight the whole game, and we just really were focused and locked in the whole game.
Now, the energy never wavers from the team and even from the fans over there, but what's the key to that success where that energy just kind of maintains you through the ups and the downs?
I think just sticking to our coach's game plan. I mean, every time we listen to our coaches, I think it does work. I think just executing what they tell us and staying focused the whole game, like I said, yeah.
You get Howard tomorrow, a team that you've split with already. Short turnaround for both sides. What's the key going in to that semifinal match tomorrow?
I think just the same thing, get fired up. I think it's always a good game when we play Howard, so staying focused, execute the game plan, and just stay locked in.
Absolutely. Jada, congrats on the new career high 12 kills and on the victory. We'll see you tomorrow in the semifinals.
Thank you so much. See you guys tomorrow.
Jada Hutchins on the broadcast. Post-game thoughts after Maryland Eastern Shore sweeps Morgan State. 1 of the MEAC tournament semifinals tomorrow. For everybody here at Coppin State, from my broadcast partner Ramona Riley Bozier,